Welcome back to the STFU Moment Podcast. I am your host, Christy, and I'm here with my fabulous co-host, Akansha.
Hey, everyone.
And this podcast is where your excuses come to die. Today, we have a very special guest. This guest has coached and helped over 250 women transform their businesses and their lives. Through her retreats, events, and coaching offers, she shows what's possible when you decide to rewrite your story. A master in mindset, human design, aligned business strategy, and more, she creates spaces for women to expand, grow, and rise together. We are excited to hear her story, how she's built her empire by following her desires, and to dive into her latest manifestation. STFU Moment listeners, please help us welcome Elyse Berendson, the Soulful Coach, to the podcast. Elyse, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me, guys. When I hear like a bio or intro, I'm like, wait, that's me.
Yes,
like,
that's you.
I'm like, what? I did that? It's always like a shock, but thank you for having me.
We are so excited to get in. You have manifested so much. And I think our listeners are going to be so inspired by your story here today.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait to get into it.
Me neither. And I just feel like this is a full circle moment because Elyse is someone who has interviewed both of us in her podcast. And now like we're interviewing
Now I'm on the
you.
other side.
And I'm like, whoa, like when you were doing the intro, it's like everything just flashed. I'm like, this is so cool. First of all, thank you, Christy, for that amazing intro that you did. And I cannot wait to learn more about you, Elyse, because I feel like you're such a powerhouse of talents and manifestation. So, Elyse, if we were to go back, how did you know, or what was that moment when you finally put everything together that this is exactly what I want to do and this is my calling?
I feel like it wasn't that. It was more so like a breaking down, a moment of, it was like 2020 and COVID, and I was reading the book Untamed by Glennon Doyle. And I was talking to a client about this the other day, but I was in the part of the book, she was like, she was talking about like a tiger in a cage. And she was like, your women aren't supposed to be caged and not supposed to be like in this type of relationship. And I sat there during COVID and I'm like, this is my marriage. This is my life. Like I felt like such a box life that I was in this cage. And then I literally changed my whole life. And I was like, it looked like the perfect life to everyone else. But to me, I was like, I'm not happy. But I had followed everything, gone to school, got married, had the baby, had the house, everything. And I was like, we can still have this moment where we're like, I'm not actually happy. So I think it was more like a breakdown that had like my breakthrough. And then I was like, I know I'm meant for more. I know I'm meant for like a healthier, loving relationship. And that's kind of like where everything, like my whole life changed in 2020.
I love this because we see this all the time. Mm-hmm. People, they do all the right things. They go to school, they get the degree. As you said, they settle down, they get married, they have the big, beautiful house, the family. And I feel like we're so drawn to achieve that. And then we get there, we get everything, and we're like, did I actually do any of this for me?
Yeah. So
can we, I hope I'm not putting you on the spot, but can we kind of dive a little bit deeper into that moment of you're like, this isn't actually what I want?
Yeah, I think from a very young age, and I don't know if you guys can relate, like I'm the older child, I'm a millennial. I was a good girl growing up. I got like straight A's. I did really well and everything. And so I was like very much a people pleaser, put everyone else first. And so I think I had this like, I'm going to follow societal norms, standards of doing everything. And then I don't know if it was like my spiritual awakening or my Saturn return where it was like, no, we're going to turn your life upside down because you're actually not happy and this isn't what you want. You've been living life for everyone else. I think it was like I turned 30 and I was like, I don't like this life that I've created. I created it for somebody else. And so then it was like, what do I want? What do I truly want? Like I knew becoming a mother was like a huge thing for me and that I really wanted that. But I was like, I don't want my son growing up seeing his mom like so unhappy, a shell of a human. And so for me, it was like, no, I need to change this because I'm like, I know I have a bigger why and a bigger meaning. And also like at that point, I was running like another business like with women. And I was like, I feel like I'm not even being my true self. Like I would have like, the social media family pictures, but behind the scenes, I was crying myself to sleep every night. I had 21 migraines in 1 month. I had panic attacks and I was like, this isn't life. And so I just had this moment where I'm like, I deserve better. I deserve the whole cake, no more breadcrumbs, not the bare minimum. And yeah, I just was like, just started rebuilding, and it's been a beautiful transformation ever since.
I would like to say it takes so much to, accept that this is happening and I want to move out. Because I have a childhood friend who went through divorce, and I know like her journey, and my cousin went through a divorce, and it's really heartbreaking because although you want to get separated, there's still like a part of you that you invested with that person, and being that person who's a people pleaser, you abided by the books and did everything. So kudos to you.
Thank you. I mean, it wasn't like just a switch one day. I contemplated leaving for 2 years. We had our son, and I feel like I was like, how am I solo parenting? Why am I, this isn't what I kind of signed up for. And it was just like this back and forth. I also didn't believe in divorce. Like, my parents have been together almost 40 years. And so that's what I wanted. But I was like, I am so fucking unhappy that I was like, I can't keep going. And I don't want my son to think this is happy and healthy and normal. And so I was like, I chose me, and it was the best decision ever. So highly recommend. Not saying I'm promoting divorce, but I found myself.
Yeah. Preach it louder.
Yeah.
We need to choose ourselves because we're never taught that.
No.
I mean, men to a certain extent, yes, probably. But women, they're always being taught like, oh, you're the one who's going to serve. You're the one who's going to take care of the kids. You have to work. You have to do all of these. Like, it's your responsibility because you're the only nurturer in the family.
Yeah.
So I think it's important for women to know that, like, times have changed. You can still be the nurturer, but you also need to nurture yourself. So thank you for saying that out loud.
Yeah, no, I think too, as moms, we feel that guilt or shame of like, oh, I don't want to put myself first, or I don't have the time or the energy. But I'm like, when I started filling up my cup first, I became a better mom. I became a better friend, partner, business owner. And I'm like, my thing is, I will always work out, go for a walk before anything. Cause I'm like, if I am going to show up to an empty cup, like I already did that this morning. I did my 10K steps, and I'm like, I'm good for the day. But I'm like, if I came, I would be like low energy. And I'm like, I need to have that high energy so I can help others. And so I think that's huge for moms and women to like actually like do one thing for yourself, 1 hour a day. Like, it's literally 1% of your day. And I think that we don't do that enough.
So you starting the business. So in the divorce, were you already doing like entrepreneurial businesses, or were you in corporate before you separated?
Yeah, so essentially I worked corporate, and then I did a little bit of education because my original plan was to go to school for teachers college, and then I was like, oh, it's an 8-year wait, so I went back into education, did that for a little bit. But actually my first entrepreneurship was I ran a home Montessori school from my house because I was like, I'm not having someone else, watch and raise my child. And I also wanted to do it in a different manner. And I feel like it's really changed our relationship because he was home with me for the first 2 years. So I did that for 2 years. And I also ran another side business as well. So I'm like, I was already dabbling in entrepreneurship. I found like when I discovered I was pregnant, I was like, I'm not working for someone else. I want to figure this out. And then through COVID, my spiritual awakening, I started doing like coaching part-time, and I was doing like Reels courses and content courses, and people are like, you're doing so well, like, can you help me? And so coaching kind of fell in my lap. But then I was like, it's kind of two of my worlds together, like education and also like a little bit of the entrepreneurship. So it just kind of went hand in hand. And yeah, I feel like it was the best choice ever. And I feel like because I'm a manifesting generator in human design, I need change, I need creativity, I need fun. And being corporate stuck it somewhere, and even the home Montessori was beautiful and it was great, but you're still stuck there for 8 hours. And I'm like, some days I just want to like go to the beach, some days I want to do this, and some days I want to do that. And so this has been great where like yesterday I kind of had my day at home, today I'm here, tomorrow I have my clients, Thursday's another day, and then Friday's my goddess day. So it's like I like the variety. And I think that's another thing that people aren't doing is like being in alignment in their business and their life, and not using human design has really changed that for me.
As you said, like, you're like, I'm going to do this. And then everybody's looking at you like, okay, at least like, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And then they're like, you freaking did it.
Yeah.
So I love this because not one size fits all for everybody. Like, you really have to be in tune with yourself. You have to be, you have to really look at what it's going back to the same thing. Like, we were told in society that this is the way to do it. And when you start questioning that, you really have to learn and understand yourself to move into what it is you actually want to create for yourself. So for you, from the outside looking in, like before Conscious got here, we were talking about how like one day you're like, I'm ready to burn it all to the ground. And then the next day you're like, I've got this, right? Yeah. And on social media, like if you guys haven't checked out Elyse's social media, it is fire. Like it is so beautiful and well done. And she has so much amazing educational content and just like inspirational content. Like I love it. So go check that out. We'll definitely leave your handle and stuff. But what does that look like? Because like I said, from the outside looking in, it looks like you have it all together. And that's where I think people get hung up when they're trying to start something, that they are like, well, I just don't have what it takes. But behind the scenes, it might look a little bit different. So can you go into that a little bit for our listeners?
So ideally, I'm in my luteal, and if we're women, you guys get it. So we're very close to the cycle. And so yesterday I was just having a day where I was like, I'm not meant to be on social media. I'm not meant to do that. So I disconnected, had my little cry, had my little meltdown. And I feel like it actually supported me and helped me, because I'm like, we're also not meant to leave all these emotions in and to keep going. We have to feel the feelings. That's one thing I learned through like divorce, therapy, healing, everything, is to feel things, to talk about things, to let it out. And I think today it helped me show up stronger, and I just feel like it put my hat back on. But I think what people do is they try to push through. And they try to numb the feeling. They eat, they drink, they shop, they do the things. Because I'm like, I used to do all of that. I'm also an emotional authority in human design. And we also need 24 hours to a week to like be neutral. So I'm like, if I made some decision yesterday, it would have not been a good idea. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go. I went for like a 2-hour nature hike. Literally just like got out of my head. I felt so good, so relaxed. And I was like, this was the universe wanted me to do today. It didn't want me to force or to push, but we don't do that. We're not taught that in society. We're taught to keep going, to force, to show up like you're at your 9 to 5. You have no choice. And I'm like, it's a beautiful thing about being an entrepreneur is that you get to have that day where you're like, you know what? I like cleared my calendar. I did keep one call because I was like, you know what? I can't reschedule this, but I had my moment, came back, had my moment again. And so I think, again, as women and mothers and business owners, we need to do that. We need to not just keep pushing and forcing and just like push through when we're actually trying to feel something, and like release, cry, let it go, disconnect. And I think that's like where the moments happen, the breakthroughs happen. I get all my downloads when I'm on nature walks, where I'm like, oh, I should do this and I should do this and I should do this, and like have my notes app open. But I think we're just told to keep going and pushing and like, don't cry about it, you're fine. And I'm like, no, it's bullshit.
I think that's very important for people to hear, because I am a recovering people pleaser. I'm a recovering hustler, as I say, and I just push. Like there was one point where I was working 7 days a week, and I was working 3 different jobs on top of trying to build a business. And I look back and I'm like, how and why?
And how was your nervous system?
Absolute wreck. An absolute train wreck. Yeah. Right? But we get hung up on, the highlight reels that we see on social media. We get hung up on, well, this person's doing so well. And then we make it mean something about our capacity to hold that, or our capacity to show up for ourselves. So I think it's very important for our listeners not only to hear it, because we talk about it all the time, but to hear it from somebody who has coached and shown up for how many events have you done? Over 50, I think. Yeah, over 50 events, and still, have those days this far into the game. How long have you been in business, please?
I essentially started when my son was born, so he'll be 7 in August. So I'll be celebrating 7 years.
So 7 years in business, and this is yesterday. You're like, I had a full-on meltdown, and I had to take care of myself, and that's what you have to do. I think people need to hear that, because when you are having so much output and serving in the way that you do, you serve beautifully, and the way it comes at, an emotional cost. So, and an energetic cost. So you need those days of rest. They are so important.
Yeah. I think too, as women, again, the resting piece, like I took like a nap yesterday, and old me would have been like, you don't have time. You're not worthy of a nap. Like, you know what I mean? Like you're a mom, you're a business owner. Like you have laundry that's like piling up. Like my chores are usually last on my list, and I'm like, it's fine. I'll figure it out. Manifesting, like getting all that dealt with at one day. But it's like we can go into this like spiral, but I was like, my body is telling me to disconnect, to rest. And then I came back and then I showed up, picked up my son, and I'm like, I'm a better mom again. Then I was like, ooh, I'm going to create an email. I got a download to create a carousel. And it's like, if I hadn't done that, then that other piece wouldn't have come in, and I would have come in snappy. I would have been irritable. And it's like, again, we're not doing that. We're just like pushing and forcing and not talking about it. And like, I'm fine. And then you like snap. And then it's like when you shake that Coke bottle and you're like, what the hell's wrong with you? But it's like, open the Coke bottle, breathe, chill, relax. And like, we just don't do that.
Yeah. Let the bubbles fizzle for a minute. So would you say that is your biggest thing that you've overcome? Like what we talk about the STFU moment. So like the excuse that you obviously had to overcome to get where you are. And maybe it's something that's reoccurring or something new that's shown up today, but can you speak on what that might be for our listeners?
I think it's like an excuse of like, this is what women have to do. This is what mothers should do, because I got told in the beginning that I was selfish. Oh, that you ruined your marriage, that all this kind of thing. And I thought, is that like, you know, the excuse, or is it like me just taking care of myself, me trying to fill up my cup? But I think it goes more beyond that, because I think, again, as women, we're taught to be like this perfect person to show up and like in this box life. And I'm like, we're not. We're meant to break the barriers. We're meant to break through. If you think about any woman that's gone through something, they've usually had this like pivotal moment. And because I'm a Manny Jenny, it's like I've had these pivotal moments where I'm like, okay, this happened and then this happened. And so I feel like, I think it was just a bunch of different things that had occurred. But I think, we just need to start being ourselves and speaking our truth and just being like, you know what, I'm not meant to fit in a box life, you know?
I've heard you talk about it over here and then previously too, and I'm still like new to this, is human design. What is it? What is a Manny Jenny?
This is one thing I talk about all day long. So human design is essentially like your personal blueprint based off of like your birthday and your time and location. I don't get into like all the scientific piece because I use it more as a tool for my clients. When I found this out, I was like, I have been living life for someone else for 30 years. When I found this out, I was like, I am seeing manifesting generators are one of the types. There's 5 different types in human design. I think you're a generator, right? Yeah. And were you a Manny Gen? Yeah. So for the Manny Gens, we have this energy, this momentum. We can keep moving. We pivot fast. We create fast. We make mistakes. But that's like our zone of genius. If I was a generators are here to like more do one thing, be lit up by that one thing. I couldn't do 8 hours of the one thing. I'd be like, I'm bored. Let's go. Let's do something else. Like, so for me, it's like having the time blocks. We have 5 different design types in human design. We have a manifesting generator, a manifestor, reflector, generator, and projector. So the one thing that is great when I use this with my clients is like, once I discover this, I'm like, oh, this is how you should actually be running your business. If you're a projector, you're actually only really supposed to be working like 3 to 4 hours a day. And society, corporate has been like, no, you have to work 8. So after 4 hours, they're done. They're tapped out. They're ready to go home. And they also have a zone of genius that they can work 8 hours amount of work in 4 hours. So they can finish things. Like I had a client once and an assistant who was a projector, and she would get things done so fast and so quick. But for me, that would have taken me 12 hours. I'm like, I don't want to do an Excel sheet. I don't want to input numbers. I would be so bored. I would see sitting there. I would delay. I would procrastinate. I don't know if you can resonate with that.
Oh, yeah.
But like, we don't like stuff like that. Projectors love systems, little things. If you're in the wrong career field. I had a client once that was doing corporate and then moved into photography, and he literally hated the corporate and like hated showing up and everything. As soon as he switched, he was like, I could do this all day long. I could take 100 clients. And like, that's the difference, is making sure that you're aligned and doing what you're doing. Because again, if you're going to come home to your family and not hate your life and complain and bitch and moan about your day all day long, make sure you're doing something you actually love that's lit up and aligned with you. A little bit and talk about like dating using human design. So I couldn't date like a reflector or a projector because reflectors need 28 days to make a decision. And I'm like, no, I'm quick. Let's go. Like, I'm not waiting a full lunar cycle for you to like get it together. And then projectors are like, I dated one who lived in Muskoka. He was great and everything, but he's like, let's just do nothing for the weekend. I'm like, for 4 days? My energy doesn't want to sit for 4 days. I'm like, I don't mind a beach or this or that, but I'm like, I don't want to do nothing. And he just like, I'm so tired. I just want to relax. And I was like, no. So I knew I had to date like a generator or a manifesting generator, and my partner is generator. So that was like a game changer. If you're you're single and you're dating, make sure you're dating the right type. And yeah, he's also like a 1-3, because we can go to different profile types. So I'm a 4-6. So I love the communities. The 6 in me is like the coach, the Buddha, I'm here to like help transform people's lives, essentially, like what I'm doing through my learned behavior, through my lived experiences. And he is more like practical. Like the 1 is like a researcher, Googler, they go down the rabbit hole. So he'll be like, oh, I think you should actually do this. And I'll be like, why? And he's like, well, I researched it for 3 hours. And I was like, I couldn't do that for 3 hours.
But thank you.
Yeah. Whereas like the community part of me would be like, so-and-so told me to buy this car. And so I would trust, the 4 of me would trust their referral over a deep dive. Like I would so like I do a lot of like referral based business. So like, oh, you should do this. I'm like, done. I've joined masterminds. I didn't even know the time. I just was referred to them and they're like, they're going to get you the results. I'm like, done, sign me up. And then she was like, girl, you can't even make the calls live. And I was like, well, I'll watch the replays. It's fine.
Yeah, we'll make it work.
Yeah. So I feel like, I think it's really important. Again, it's like you're trying to find alignment for yourself, your business. I use it with my son, but your clients, but your partner too. Like it's such a, like I wish when you're born, they're like, here, go look it up. Like now, if I have another child, I would, but I feel like people don't know this is like such a like a little cheat sheet to your life,
That's so cool. Yeah, there's so many insights that you like, not only like you said from business to dating, that I'm just like, it blows my mind because like literally a manual.
Even like parenting, like when I figured it out with my son, I was like, oh, he stopped having tantrums. It was way easier for me to communicate. His, like, you can also go into your environment. His environment is the same as mine. We're by the shores. So by summertime, we live at the beach. Like he's good there all day. 2, as a man, because he's an emotional Manny Jenny, but they need like choices. Like, so instead of being like, what do you want to do today? I'd be like, do you want to go to the park or the beach? And then it's like that easy decision. But sometimes as a mom, you're like, I don't know, but I feel like it helps you understand your child, your partner. And then you're wondering, like, even if you're in a relationship and you're butting heads, it's like, yeah, because we're not meant to communicate. We're not meant to make the same decisions. And so using this has really helped me where I'm like, okay, they need some time. Let's figure it out. But even when clients come to me, I'm like, oh, they're line 1. They're like, what time is it? When does it start? Da, 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 da. They are asking me 17 questions. And old me would have been like triggered. I'm like, this girl's too much. And now I'm like, oh, she's a line 1. She just needs information. Then she'll join when she's ready. And so now I'm like, you know what I mean? Using it to like your advantage, but not being like, this person's annoying or they're not listening or they're not in alignment. So yeah, I think it's a great tool.
It sounds like a great tool to help set people up for success too, right? And especially when you're in business and any part of your life, it just kind of helps you decide. And as you were talking about the communication with your partner, sometimes like I could be someone who likes to hold on to things unless and until it's really messing with me, and I wouldn't talk about it. Like that used to be the previous me, and now I'm like, you want to butt heads? Come, like I'll fight you. But it's also like a lot of learning curves. So I do agree with what you said. So how, like, can people book you directly for this if they want?
Yeah, so I do human design readings. I've done like some family readings. I more so like when I'm working with clients, like I will give them like a free reading, because to me, I'm like, I would rather understand my client than like I've had clients come to me and they're like, I've worked with this big coach. I paid all this money. I'm really tired of putting money in. And then literally they'll work with me for like an hour and they're like, I have been doing business all wrong. Like if they're a projector, they're not meant to go live every day. They're not meant to post every day. They're not meant to come on stories and have all this energy all the time. They have a 4-hour window. And like their zone of genius is like maybe a carousel or a system or something behind the scenes. And so I think it's so important that you're not just like going with like the big viral coach that has all the followers or all the things, and just like doing something that like actually works for you.
Well, I would challenge you a little bit because you are a big coach. Like, you have changed so many lives. And, like, I think I read an email, you got invited to do a retreat in Greece. Like, that's pretty big. Yeah, that's pretty big. Yeah.
I guess I don't look at it from that perspective. So
you are a big coach. Yeah. Stand in your power.
Yeah.
So, with this relations and stuff, I kind of want to segue a little bit. So we've heard about the new man that you it's not even so much about the man. It's about, the relationship you called in. So can we talk a lot about a business on this podcast because we're for women in business, but I also I think this would be a good opportunity to also see how you showing up for yourself in these ways, for yourself, for your son, for your business, how this has translated to this beautiful relationship that you have now.
Yeah. So I feel I was single for like 4 years, essentially. I would date on and off. But I think like going through my own healing process, I did like solo dates for a year straight. I think working on myself really helped me figure out like what I want, what I deserve, what I don't want. Then human design also really helped me be like more aligned. And it was funny because we met 3 years ago, and actually he's from like Bracebridge. Well, he lived here for a little bit, but he's Australian. And so we met, we went on the date. It was great. It was like, you know, when you go on that first date and you just like don't want to leave and you can't stop talking. We went to 2 different restaurants because one had closed, and it was just like such a beautiful night. And then I just was like, it just felt like a friend feeling right away from the beginning. And then after that, I talked about this on my podcast recently, but I'm like, we didn't follow any rules. We weren't like, you have to wait 3 hours. You have to wait 3 days. Like we literally like went on one date and then like just kept dating for like 3 or 4 months. Sadly, he had to go back to Australia, and I was kind of like upset. And then I think my old wounds and my old triggers came. So I kind of like would push him away and be like, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then like over time, we built this like really big emotional relationship. I did more work, more healing on myself. And I was really like, you know what, this is the person I could see myself with. Like we really got aligned, and we just had so many, like, I was like, why am I trying to date someone that's the opposite me? Like, I feel like when we're younger, we're like opposites attract, or we want that kind of thing. But I'm like, for us, we had all of the same values, the things we wanted, our family, our lives. And so that was like a big thing for me. And then I started to realize like I would write all these manifestation lists, and I was like, okay. And then I read another one, and it would like be very similar. One thing I learned more recently though was like when you're manifesting, you shouldn't be manifesting the physical. You should be manifesting like their values, their attributes. So for me, I always thought I was going to be with like someone who was like 6'4", dark hair, a lot of hair. But I'm like, that was my ex. And I was like, was that still me not releasing that part? So he's like a little bit taller than me, and he's bald. So I was like, that wasn't on my manifestation list, but everything else was there. And so it was just this beautiful moment. And then he decided to come back, like, you know, said he's like ready to come, booked his flight. And I said, okay. I also wanted him to lead that part and not be like, okay, begging for that. And more so just him being in his masculine. So he came back, he was here for 2 months, and literally we were together all the time. And I'm like, I get annoyed at people or I need a break, but it was never like that. And he was so intuitive, and his human design, his sixth sense is a feeling, and so is mine. So like I would have a long day, and he'd be like, oh, I'm just going to make us dinner. And I was like, wait, I didn't have to ask. Aww. Or like, he'd be like, oh, I'll go switch the laundry. And I'm like, I didn't have to ask. And so like, I got more in 2 months that I got in 10 years. And so I was like, I really was like, this is my person, and that we're meant to be. And he got along really well with my son. It was just so beautiful. He unfortunately had to go back for a teaching job because he's finishing his teaching degree. But it just felt like, I was like, I think this is my person. And I just like, there was no, like, even when we had disagreements, I was waiting for a door to slam or him to scream or to yell, and that never happened. And I was like, okay, again, I'm working through my old trauma and triggers because that was what I was used to. And so I just was like, okay, I think this is like my person. And yeah, I think it's going to be hard to navigate because we're doing long distance plays in Australia. But I was like, I think that he has the values and things that I'm looking for. And then when I was like, my girlfriend told me about you can put 2 charts together. Okay. And so we are 98% compatible. And I was like, of course we are.
Yes.
So it just all worked out. But I was like, yeah, I feel like we get hung up. And I had a guest on my podcast a while ago, and she's like, we get so hung up on bringing in someone that is just about the physical. Mm-hmm. And then they come and they look great and they're this beautiful, handsome man, but they are an asshole, or they're completely have no values that are on your list. I'm like, I've always been told your third love is like someone you'll never think that you would date. And so he is a beautiful man, but I just was like, I thought he would be a little taller, but it's fine because we work it out. So I don't really wear heels anymore, so it's fine.
But what you're saying is that you've had opportunity to challenge the old version of you, right? Like when you're like, oh, like I'm waiting for the door to slam, like that's because it happened. This man has done more for me in 2 months than I was in and then the other one did in my 10-year relationship. Mm-hmm. Like this is giving you opportunities to see past that and to move past that. And even like when you're saying like long distance is hard, let's go back to this, what society says. Of course, society says it's hard, but does it have to be? Can it be different for you? Right? Like, you've already done what society told you to do, and it didn't work out.
Yeah.
So now you're doing the opposite of what society tells you not to do, and it's working.
Yeah.
Right? And you become this beautiful magnet to this person who's 98% compatible with you. Like, that's amazing.
Yeah. I was like, can we do that again? Are you sure?
Yeah.
I'm not sure about that.
It's just an example of you being your true self. And like you said, you're healing, but it's also like an awareness. You're like, wow, like this actually, like, there's no sign of that old life anymore. Like, I don't have to hold on to that. So that's just like proof for you and evidence building for you that you're like, wow, like, I'm actually stepping into this new version. I'm actually stepping into this new way of being with someone who loves me completely self-expressed. Yeah. Which is, I think, everything that you want to strive for.
No, I was going to say, I think that this has been the first relationship where I can fully be me. And it's like, you know, when you're like that weird self, or you see those reels are like, oh, my weird's coming back because I'm healing. Like, we would do like the funniest random things. We did like a Pate night one night and we looked like prison inmates and we were like dying laughing. And like, my ex would have never have done that. And like, it's just like these moments where it's like, we could be doing absolutely nothing together and have the best time and like laughing like idiots, or like we'll go somewhere and some weird interaction happens and like we'll make these like weird inside jokes. And it's just like, I feel like you need to do that in the relationship and just be your most authentic self, because I'm like, what's the point if you have to put on this mask? And I feel like that's what I did for the first 30 years of my life. And then in that last relationship, I'm like, I can't be fake anymore, or like pretend or think everything's okay. And I think as women, we put on that level, or I've seen girlfriends and they're like, yeah, it's really hard and I'm just going to push through and he's happy. So, and I'm like, but you're not happy. But it's like, will it be too hard to leave and have to start over? And I'm like, I get it. It is really fucking hard to leave, but what is better? He's happy and you're miserable, and like, that's just how you're going to stay. Yeah. And some women will stay for 40 years. I'm like, I couldn't. I'm like, that wasn't my story.
I have seen people end their life because of bad marriage. I've never seen anyone end their life because of divorce. But for like that, like, I've seen people. Yeah. I've heard about stories like in news and everything where people couldn't leave, and not just female, like men too, where they're like so traumatized of leaving that they choose ending their life is much better than going through the societal pressure of getting a divorce and facing everyone. So I always say, like, a divorced person is better than a dead person.
It's true, yeah.
Like, whether it be emotionally or physically, like, leave if you need to talk. And having that community of people who support you in that and who understand you and who are out there for your betterment and who are genuinely asking, like, are you okay? Like you did with your friend, like, okay, what can we do? Yeah. Okay, and slowly helping them. I think that's very important for people to understand.
Yeah. I will say, like, trigger warning, I did have like suicidal thoughts at one point in the marriage relationship near the end. And I literally was like, I don't know if I can do this anymore. It was literally like psychological abuse every single day and literally crying like until I was like in so much pain. And I also ended up having like insomnia for a year because I was like debating, like, do I leave? Do I stay? What do I do? Like, this isn't normal. And like, I also didn't want to leave because of my son. And so, yeah, again, the support system is really helpful. But also, like, I think I don't want to like normalize it, but when you're going through a really toxic relationship, you do have dark thoughts. You do. I wasn't alone on this. I know a lot of women that I've talked to that have gone through things, and even will come in my DMs when I talk about it, and they're like, thank you for sharing. Thank you for being vulnerable. I was going through this too, and I thought I was the only one. And I'm like, I felt alone for so long. But I think it's, again, speaking up, getting help, using your support system. Like, it takes a village. Like, my family's been amazing. I have always had a therapist. I've had a mentor, a coach, but your people, like, you have to make sure that you're supported by the right people, because you could have someone that could be like, you know what, maybe you're better if you go back with him because, like, you know, they weren't that bad, you know. So to have someone that's like your real person. And all of my people were like, my one girlfriend was like, you either pick him or me. And so she would say to me, she did it as we've been friends forever, and she did it as a way to like push me to leave. And I already knew I needed to leave, and it wasn't her saying that made me leave. There were many other things, but it was just this like mirror that I had to face, that she was like, I don't think that you're right for this. And so I had to stop. You know, when you go to your friend and you bitch and complain about the same thing over and over, I think she was tired of it. Yeah. So she's like, girl, you got to choose. And so I was like, you know what, you're right, I need to leave. So, but it was like a nice like slap in the face as a good friend. Because sometimes you need that tough love. And she always brings it up. We actually just celebrated 20 years of friendship. And she's like, remember when I said that thing? And I was like, that's not why I laughed, but it was helpful.
Yes, thank you for that.
Yeah. So I'm like, it's good to have friends and people and like use your resources. Like I know therapy can be expensive, but there's things where you can, you know, it's like pay what you can, or you can maybe do a trade of services. Like I think therapy really changed my perspective on things and getting out of my head. And you literally sometimes in these relationships, like, am I crazy? Am I in the wrong? Because they'll just do so much psychological damage to you.
Mm-hmm. I think it's not just about, it's an investment into yourself, right? Mm-hmm. When you go through therapy, you unlearn so many things that you did not even know that you were holding on to. Mm-hmm. That EFT version, like just because the society tells you doesn't mean that's your truth. So unlearning, relearning better things and understanding yourself, I think it's such a big investment that you can make into yourself, and there's so much help now that's available. So I think that's important.
Yeah, I'm a big believer in that. Like I would rather invest in things than just like a shopping haul or like a quick fix. Like I will pay so much money for coaching, and my family, if they ever found out how much I paid, they'd be like, girl, you're crazy. But I'm like, it's done the most for me. Yeah. So I was like, I'm good. And I've also talk about Greece. I'm like, that's where I've met the most amazing women, is in these like containers, in, you know, masterminds and places where it's like, I can see what's possible. They're making 7 figures. Okay, it's possible. Like getting in the rooms with the women. And that's why I think that's like such a powerful piece of investing in yourself.
Mm-hmm. And I think like moving forward in our generation, we can start to change the vocabulary around like what these things mean. Like divorce, like in like my parents' age was like the end all be all, right? Yeah. And then we've taken that on when it really doesn't have to mean anything, right? It just means, you know, our chapter is closing. Like we need to go our separate ways. We've grown apart. I think more people need to understand that like that's not something to feel failure over. Like feel what you need to feel, obviously, but don't let it take you out and make you stay in situations where there is abuse, where you are so unhappy that you're thinking about, you know, ending your own life, right? It's now, like I always say, like our generation, like I feel like millennials in like as a general community have been breaking these generational curses, and I think this is one of them, is like really looking at like what was perceived as failure and what's actually just a pivot in time.
Mm-hmm. I used to really think that it was failure, and then I had a friend, and I realized this too, but she was like, what if this was just your path? What if that was just your lesson? And now that I think about it, I'm like, if I didn't go through the hardest fucking part of my life, I wouldn't have got here. I wouldn't have had my spiritual awakening. I wouldn't have found human design. I wouldn't have found my man. Like I wouldn't have like even done the work. Like I've done 11 retreats now. I wouldn't have done 250 human design readings and working with all those clients. Like it wouldn't have never have happened if I didn't literally fall forward and fall on my face. And so I think I know people can be scared of starting over or going through these hardships, because again, I didn't believe in it either, but I was like, I just couldn't keep going. And I'm like, I was so miserable. My mom even says this to me. She's like, I have a photo of you at one holiday, and she's like, I will never show it to you, because she's like, you look not like yourself. You look so miserable. You look like a shell of a human. And I was like, I know, I was so unhappy. I just like lost myself. And I know we can lose ourselves in motherhood, but I'm like, if you're losing yourself in a relationship, like that's not okay. Like you need to still do things for yourself, your hobbies and all those things. But I'm like, I'm so glad that I did it, and I would do it again. Like it was really hard, and it's still hard. I'm still navigating court, dealing with financial pieces, but I'm like, I would do it again, because I'm here where I am, and I'm much stronger and more resilient. And that was I think my lesson.
Oh, that's beautiful. I think a lot of people go through that like one point where it's like, this is what I had to go through to become who I am.
Yeah. Yeah. When people are like, oh, how are you so like happy and have such good energy and like you're so lucky, and I'm like, no, it was not luck. It wasn't why I'm so happy. It's that I'm doing the work. I'm disconnecting if I need to. I'm showing up. I'm investing. I'm doing so many things. Like I can't remember who it is that says it, but they're like, oh, I think it was Tony Robbins. And he was like, what would people see in private that you would be proud of in public? And I was like, ooh, like I'm literally like this morning, I'm like doing my little card pull. I'm doing my future self-writing. I'm doing my gratitude my son and I are sitting on our deck and we're doing our thing. But I'm like, to other people, it's like maybe they're just like scrolling their phone or doing their thing. But it's like, what are you doing behind that people would be like, oh yeah, like you should be proud of all the work that you've done and accomplished. So I was like, oh, I like that line from him.
It takes a lot, right, to set up the business, and you've done such incredible work, and there's so much that goes behind. And you're just such an inspiration talking about it, because I know a lot of women who will be able to relate to you and be like, oh my God, like, where were you from?
Yeah.
And why are you speaking directly to me?
Yeah,
I know. And I'm like, I've also lived like 30 different lives.
Yes.
I'm like the queen of pivoting. I mean, I am a Manny Jenny, but I feel like it's important that we, like, when, you know, someone follows you from high school, you're not that person. We're meant to evolve. We're meant to grow. We're not meant to stay the same. When someone's like, I've worked somewhere for 40 years, I'm like, to me, that's boring. But I'm like, we need to grow. We need to evolve. And I'm like, like 5 years ago, I wouldn't have recognized myself now. I also don't drink. In 5 years forward, I won't recognize myself again. It's like, because I feel like we need to keep working on ourselves and growing, evolving. I think that's also my lesson, is to keep like pulling back the onion layers and figuring out, like, getting to like who I am and helping other women again find who they are as well.
That's very nice. And I'm very excited.
So can we talk about what you've got coming up? You've got a lot happening for you. So what's going on? What are the events? Let's talk about the Money Honey events.
Yeah. So June 27th. It was actually really funny how this like kind of downloaded for me, is that I go to events all the time myself. I believe in investing in myself. And I went to this like very lavish event in Toronto, the 7-figure business owner. I was surrounded by 6 and 7-figure business owners. They were talking about like selling and buying and this and that. And I was like, I felt so expansive in this room. And I literally was like, if I invest in this, I'm going to make it back within a week. I made it back within 24 hours, because I was like, you know what? If she can do it, then I can do it. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to create, I used to create more events, but I've been doing a little bit more like coaching and more human design readings. I do my retreats, but I'm like, I haven't done an event like this in like maybe 2 years. But I was like, let's create a space for women to come together, to believe that it's possible to make more money, to do it easier, to manifest, to do it with ease. And so I'm doing this June 27th in Barrie at the Four Points in Sheridan. And I truly believe that you are going to double or triple your income. And I don't think that women are here to play small. I think that we are humans that can birth life. Like, we're here to have these like big portals. And so that's just like the vibe and energy. There's going to be 2 guest speakers that are coming. It's catered local lunch, branded headshots. And you guys know that I love my content. Content's like so easy for me. So we're doing like a content power hour as well, with like my expertise and things like that. So yeah, that's the event that's coming up. I also run like an ongoing mastermind that's once a week. And this is for women that maybe they need more alignment, or they need to use their human design, or they're not feeling supported. Like, I've had women that I've been in masterminds that have come into my mastermind and they're like, how are you doing what you're doing? So I'm creating a more aligned business for you. And so that's just like an ongoing thing that I do for the year. I have my 12th retreat coming up in October. So that's in Collingwood. I have my girl Cynthia coming, and she does breathwork. I don't know if you guys are big fans of breathwork. I love breathwork. I literally took 10 years of trauma away in one session in 1 hour.
It's powerful.
So highly recommend. So yeah, she's been in my last 2 retreats. That's a 3-day powerful expansion as well. But yeah, I'm very much like an in-person girly, human design, manifestation, and that's what you'll find. But one thing that I do is I create events where women meet people and they're like, that's my future best friend. That's my client. That's this. Like, I've created so many events where people are like, I came to this room and I knew everyone and I felt so aligned. And so that's like my superpower. So yeah, that's what I have coming up.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. So if someone wants to buy or be a part of this retreat, or find your work and everything, where can they find it? And anything else you want to talk about that you're super excited to share with our guests?
I'd say first and foremost, like, to come find me on Instagram. That's where I hang out a lot. So it's at the Elyse Berendson, and it's, you guys will probably put that in the show notes. Yep. You can just come and say hi, DM me. I talk. I'm not going to sell it to you in a DM. I don't believe in that. But I'm a big person that believes in building relationships. So I'm like always chatting in the DMs. All my links are there. All my handles are there. If you do want to connect with me, my website is ElyseBerendson.co. But I'm a Manny Jenny, so things are always changing. We're always evolving. There's always a new thing. I'm like, tomorrow we might have a new offer. It's fine. It's just how I work. But I'm like, that's my energy, is to keep going and evolving. I will not do one thing for 100 years. That's not me. So yeah, there's always new and upcoming things on there. And I guess one other thing I'd promote is that I'm working on my book and like sharing my story, my journey, but also it's going to be a way to like inspire other women. There's going to be some tangible pieces in there. So my goal is to finish it by the end of the year and do like a killer badass book launch. So yeah, that will be coming and manifesting that.
Nice. That's so exciting.
That's amazing.
I just want to say thank you for having me on. This has been lovely and yapping and chatting and yeah.
Thank you so much for coming. This is a dream come true. Like when Nakancha and I started this, I think I messaged you like back in January and I was like, I need you on our podcast. So now that it's finally happening, like 5 months later, it still happened. So it's just a dream come true. So thank you so much for making your way up here.
Well, thanks for having me. This has been lovely.
Thank you so much, Elyse. And I think as Christy said, we cannot thank you enough. You have been such a great support for our podcast too. And it's always good to talk to you, to hear you, and check out your social media because you're just a powerhouse of inspiration and there's so much knowledge that you have. And I hope that this episode really speaks to the woman that really needs to hear these messages and take the power back and control of their lives, learn from human design, work with you, mastermind, because I believe that you have so much power in to transform other people's life. And with that being said, if this episode resonated with you, please share it with a woman that really needs to hear this and find Elyse's work. We'll have everything in the description down below. And as always, remember that Christy and I are not behind you. We're not ahead of you. We're walking this journey hand in hand with you. Until next time.